Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us again on another episode of the Leadership for the Now podcast. My name is Florin Lungu, and I'm so delighted to be with you today. And today I'm joined by a wonderful friend and an expert in creating human connections. He's also a surgeon and an author and lecturer, and author of a book that we're going to discuss a little bit more about that in a few minutes. But this is my friend, Rikard Karlsson. Welcome, Richard.
Thank you so much, Florin. It's a real honor to be on the show.
Thank you for making the time. I know you're not only, lecturing on the book, and you also are a surgeon. And sometimes I know that you might have emergencies that you need to attend to. So thank you so much for making the time to be with us today live.
Yeah, thank you.
So tell us a little bit about yourself. Like, you are the author of the book, The Science of Meeting Yourself and Others, and it's a
Yeah.
really wonderful book to study as a self-development book. But tell us a little bit about you and your work.
So, as you said, I'm a vascular surgeon. I'm a general surgeon, and I specialize on double board in vascular surgery. So I do uh, right now. I do just vascular surgery. So I work full time as a vascular surgeon. But on my spare time, I do a lot of other things, like writing a book, for example. So that book, The Art of Meeting Yourself and Others, was launched in December 2019. So it's 2.5 years ago. And apart from that, as you said, I'm lecturing about those topics, human interactions, which is the core thing in everything I kind of like try to create some value around. That's human interactions. And apart from that, I'm about to start my own podcast, which is we're recording the second pilot episode, and then we're gonna start as soon as possible. And I don't have any name, and I don't have any like really specific data about it. But I'm really hoping that it's going to be something that it's creating great value. But the whole thing about my interest and my fascination for the human interactions is actually based on curiosity. I have been very curious about people's stories and people's lives since I was a kid. I love to hear those stories about, yeah, how they kind of like live their lives. And when I became a surgeon, I kind of like developed that interest and fascination when it came to all those interactions I have with my patients, and that was this like deep inner voice, as I write in the book, that told me that wasn't really optional. I needed to do that.
Hmm.
Yeah, it was really, it was so strong. It was never a question about if, it was always a question of when it come to the book. And yeah, that's the thing. This fascination for what's happening when we meet, when we interact. And I have, maybe we will talk about that later, but I have those like 4 tools that I use when I interact,
Sure.
and
Share
it's
those with
it's
us, man.
helping me a lot. Yeah, and
Yeah, because
those tools. Yeah, sorry.
so one of the things that I know all of us need in today's world, is to get better at creating these interactions. Like with all things going digital right now, it's even more difficult to create those interactions and actually create a deeper connection. Today, it's about how fast can we do things, and we're looking at, you know, one click buy and deliver the same day. And we know that relationships and connections take time. So tell us, what are those four tools that you talk about in the book as well?
Yeah, and I'm happy that you mention it. Um, it's really a little bit more than a one-click buy, you know. It's like
That, that that's the
so that's the thing, and that's why I have my first chapter about the tool that I find like most valuable, and that is presence. And that's exactly what you're talking about. Presence is something that is really lacking a lot, and we are kind of like stuck in algorithms that are created to catch us. It's not like a coincidence that we end up like half an hour later when we start to looking for for a for a car, and then we end up with when looking at like different things. We are all like, those algorithms are actually designed to keep us there as long as possible, because it's all about our most valuable asset, and that's time, Florin. That's what we do with our time. And time is what everybody wants. So presence is like the first thing. That's the foundation when we interact.
Mhm.
We feel that very strongly, you know, if the present is not there. I look at it I'm I'm trying to create a space where the other person can expand. And it's also, I think about it as present is presence is like giving the other person a gift. My presence, I give it to you right now. And it's hard work, you know. It's very easy to like just like flow away and think about other things, and you feel that very strongly when the person is there physically but not mentally. They can sit in front of you, but they are somewhere else. They are on vacation, they are at dinner, they are like on movie, wherever, but they are not, definitely not there. And you feel that very strongly. So I really think, I try to think about that, to be there. That's number one. And the other one is humor. Humor is, I love humor. I love laughing. And to me, it's an extremely valuable tool when I interact with my patients, because I've always like, I liked, I love to laugh. I love to be serious, but I love to laugh. And laughing together is something extremely bonding, you know. When we do that, we create something on a neurochemical level that is very strong. And sometimes people ask me, or my students ask me, like, is it allowed to make a joke with the patients? Like, can you joke with a like severely sick patient? And I say, of course you can, as long as you do it with a good intention, as long as you do it with warmth. Because what's happening when I interact with my patients and we laugh together, first of all, me and my patient, we are not equal in that situation,
Mhm.
because they are the real underdogs, because they are sick, they need my help, they are dependent on me and my opinion. So we are not equal. And that's very important as a doctor to realize that, because your words can harm extremely much if you don't think about that. But they can also help a lot if you think about it.
Absolutely.
So yeah, so I look upon it as creating a platform, and that's the laughter, and we meet there. So the differences are kind of like a little bit taken away. So we meet at the platform and we laugh together. And at that moment, we both we bond, and we kind of like let the other things go. So we create that confidence, we create that really, really bonding thing in the laughter. And it's, it's so easy to think that laughter is something like simple. You have the serious stuff and then you have your laughter.
Yeah.
But to me, laughter, it's really, really powerful.
And I
So that's good.
can absolutely see how that will help someone, because think about the weight and the tension of the situation of someone being sick and coming to see you, and you being that kind of, we talk about this kind of feelingless kind of robot rather than a human being, and not
Mm,
empathizing with, with the patient. And I think,
mm,
because I also have some inside information about how, the care system in Sweden is, and I believe because of the way it's built right now, does not allow medical doctors to actually create that bond, because you see patients on a roller band, and then you see the next
mm,
one and the next one, and you don't
mm,
even have the time to think into who we're going to see now, and
mm,
create that connection.
mm.
And so
Exactly.
then the feeling of the patient is like, I'm not listened to. you know
Mm,
the doctor did not empathize with me. and
mm,
and this is a true leadership lesson here. Like, if you
exactly.
just take this and apply to leadership, it's
Mm,
exactly the same. If
mm,
us leaders were able to just bridge that gap, because if we are the manager or the leader of the team, we are
mm,
positionally, as you said, our team might see themselves as the underdog, and we are positioned here because at the end of the day, we're the manager, right? So if we
mm,
don't take a step to meet the person where they are, and maybe
exactly.
create that more of a little bit like more informal environment through laughing, right, and to laughter,
Mm,
then
mm,
we're not able to create that connection.
mm,
So I
exactly.
can see how that helps. So first was presence, then humor. What is the third one?
The third one is silence. Because silence is very interesting, I love silence. Even if I love to laugh and talk, I love silence. Silence is something really, really rewarding. But to some people, silence is a little bit scary, because when you're silent, something might come up from the other person or from yourself. You never know. And that thing might not be so nice. So it might be safer to keep talking and don't create that possible not so good thing.
Yeah.
But if you dare to be silent, it's very rewarding, because as the title of the book is, meeting yourself and others. And that's I would say, meeting yourself, that's the crucial thing. That's the hardest and most important of all the meetings. So by being silent by yourself, you actually give yourself space to come up with things that normally are suppressed. And that could be small, subtle things, small whispers that are being shut down with all the noise, the daily noise. But when you are silent with yourself, a lot of things might happen. And also when you're silent with a patient, a lot of things happens, because as I say in the book, silence is when the thoughts are given time to be colored in words. Sometimes it needs a little time to be colored. And if you break the silence too early, that time might not be sufficient, and there will be no words.
Absolutely.
So So it's really, and it's also hard work sometimes, because it's so tempting to say something. That silence can be like, it can be like enormous. It feels like you have like the whole world on your shoulders when you like. But my recommendation is just give it a little bit more, because I've seen that so many times. It comes there, that question, that thought, that reflection, and especially in hard situations, hard talks, that could be grieving, that could be like, that can have like a lot of that could be sad, and like that can be angry, and just stay there in the silence, and look what's happening.
I think the challenge we most of us have is that we're not comfortable in being by ourselves. Like we are
Ex-
human beings, and we
exactly.
some of us, many of us live on interactions, right? So then, and I can see patterns both in leaders' behavior, but also in other people's behavior. Just that even couples, they fill their schedule with things just so they don't have that odd time where they probably have to speak about something that is almost like everyone uh, keeps the conversation going about the weather, so no one talks about the elephant in the room.
Exactly. Exactly.
And this is
Exactly.
so important in today's world, because I think one of the challenges that most of us face, and also leaders, is that we don't have time to stop and think. One of the biggest challenges uh, when I work with leaders, they tell me, Florian, I ask, what are your thoughts since last time we talked, right?
Hmm.
What came to mind? What were your reflections or were awarenesses? And they'll say often, well, I didn't have the time to think about it.
Hmm. Exactly.
So this is something that it's so important, and I'm glad, and I read the book, and I'm glad that you put that in the book and you mentioned it, because uh, there is power in silence, and there is a need for us to be able to connect with ourselves through allowing that silent time. And if we're not comfortable to be by ourselves, that's also an indication. There's something there.
Exactly.
There are things
Yeah.
that there are thoughts that you might not want to hear, or you might not want to come to your awareness. So yeah, that's great. So presence,
There is. I just have to hook on that,
sure.
about the time that you don't have. There is a great saying that you should meditate like 5 minutes a day, unless you are stressed. Then you should meditate an hour. So you see, I mean, like the more stressed you are, the more is the need to decompress. Otherwise, you are in a spiral that really goes on the wrong direction. So, and about that, as you said, like about liking yourself, that's also very important. A lot of people in this world is not liking themselves, and one of my most profound experiences, um, the last like 2 or 1 year, is that I actually became my own best friend. And that is not to say that in a very egoistical way, but it's a way of kind of like look upon myself with a respect, and try to help myself, because I'm stuck with myself. I can leave my friends, I can just walk away, but with myself I'm stuck with Rikard. And so I thought, why not team up with him?
That's it.
And when I did that, it was a big relief, because you team up with your body. I teamed up with my body, and so to speak, that I have like an agreement that my body is hopefully trying to help me as much as it's possible. And I'm doing my best to help my body by exercise, by eating good food and sleep and meditate and all that. And together, I mean, like we hopefully have like a good time together.
Yeah, and you make a good team. It's so
Yeah.
important that you mentioned that, because one of the things that, so this idea of not being comfortable with ourselves, and it applies to everyone, doesn't matter if you're a leader or not, if you are a surgeon or if you're just a
Uh,
mom, a dad, or a friend.
mm,
uh, it could only go two ways. Either we have an unrealistic image of ourselves, and that could be just pumped and pumped by unrealistic expectations or unrealistic views on ourselves, and
mm,
that bubble will burst at one point and will fall from, heights, right?
mm,
Or
mm,
we have a more negative self-image where we don't trust ourselves, when we believe in ourselves, and when we don't take action or don't try new things just because we believe we're not worthy or we're not able. And
mm.
neither of these views are good. Earlier, a
Exactly.
friend of ours, Alena Ipanova, she shared something about self leadership.
Mm,
And what I heard from that and what I shared is that the the first thing is for us to have a realistic self image, a realistic view of ourselves. And I think because we have these role models in our view, that we want to be like the next CEO, we want to be like the next star, we want to be the next whatever we want to be, we
mm,
always compare ourselves with someone else. And
mm,
if we compare ourselves with someone which is ahead of us, we get discouraged, we don't even
mm,
try. If we
mm,
compare ourselves with someone which is behind us,
mm.
we then say, well, okay, I'm not as bad as they are, and then we become complacent and we don't try neither. So the the
Exactly.
the whole idea is to have that realistic view of ourselves, and as you said, being our own supporter. Like, if we don't believe in ourselves, why should anyone else believe in ourselves?
Mm.
And,
Exactly.
and if we don't invest in ourselves, in our growth, why should anyone else invest in ourselves? And when we
Mm.
go and ask for a job or for someone to buy our services or products, then we kind of ask them to invest in ourselves and bet on us, right? And if
Exactly.
we don't
Exactly.
have that kind of healthy relationship with ourselves, and if we're not friends with ourselves, then we're not going to be able to, to do what we want to do, and to live the kind of life we want to live. So I'm so
Exactly.
grateful that you brought that up. So tell us what's the fourth thing, because I think people are now curious already.
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. So the fourth tool is an extremely important tool, and that is kindness. And kindness is it's really, really a superpower. And there is a lot of things who could be said about kindness, but and I'm happy to see that there is a difference now when you read articles, you see posts on LinkedIn and all that. You see that kindness are like it's more and more like kind of like popular, and it's spread in a way that it's very, very uh, lovely to see, I would say, and it's really encouraging. But to me, kindness is extremely important. And first of all, I don't want to mix kindness with some mix kindness with a little bit of submission. You kind of like you are maybe a little bit taken for granted. You are really kind of like being a little bit of a doormat. People can do whatever they want, kind of, because you are kind. That is not the kindness I'm talking about. I'm talking about core kindness. I'm talking about the core of of kindness, and that is that you are genuinely kind to people. And when you are, something's happening. Um, it's really, really powerful, and you can see that it cuts like like a knife through. butter. It's when it comes to all the covers people have, you know, they can be like very tough, they can be like angry, there can be a lot of things. There can be, but when they realize that someone is really, really actually caring for them, something's happening. So I use that a lot uh, when I see my patients and their relatives and Mexican, because there could be situations that they are like really angry. Um, and sometimes it's yeah, absolutely.
No, go on.
Yeah, no. You can say. I remember what I'm.
I just wanted to build on that because it's especially important for us to show kindness when we are, in a position where we usually, not that we should not, but people do not expect that from us. So, for example, when you said that maybe a patient who, I mean, at the end of the day, they came to see you, they need your help, right? So they will probably be submissive, right? Because you're the specialist. I'm not gonna, like, at least in your area, I'm not gonna come
No,
there and tell you what to do,
no,
right? So
no.
it's think about when you reply with kindness, how much of a difference that makes. Because usually you could also be very straightforward and be very unkind and still do your job, right? So it's a
Absolutely.
choice that you make, right? So as leaders, because we have the position, and maybe people do not expect us to be kind, and they may expect us to be sometimes directive and take the decision that we need to take. Sometimes being kind, it's actually differentiating us from everyone else.
Yeah,
And that's exactly when we should apply kindness. When someone is not kind to us, because it's very easy for us to be kind with someone that we are depending on, or we know that they might help us some way. But it's very
exactly.
difficult to be kind with maybe with a cleaning lady, or with a door person, or with someone that they will never be able to pay you back that kind of kindness.
But that is super important. What you said, the two three sentences there. I just read a quote about that, and a good measurement about like a good person is how they treat people they are not dependent on. They are not important for them. So then they can choose kind of, because it's always easy to be kind at to someone that you are dependent on, like, but and that is the crucial thing, you know. It's all about being kind to whatever whoever you meet, kind of, and that's the thing. And how you treat people outside your job, how you treat your waiter, how you treat the 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 lady that kind of like needs a hand over the street or whatever. It's like those things. And when it comes to leadership and it comes to company culture, it's extremely powerful to be kind, because you do something when you are kind. You create a feeling that are there forever. When the words are gone, you have that feeling. And it's all about that feeling when it comes to interactions. The feelings we create in each other, that's the important thing. If it's employees, if it's students, if it's patients, if it's guests, if it's customers, whatever it is, it's the emotion, it's the feeling that you get. I mean, like, you return to a restaurant, yeah, mainly for the food, of course, but there are heaps of good food restaurants. Why do you go back? You have a feeling.
Yep.
You've been seen. Someone was kind to you. There was something there that made you go back. Same with a shop. Same with a hotel. And those who realize that, they will always be far ahead.
Wow. That's so good. I think we could probably speak about it for 1 hour, and I know you have.
Absolutely, absolutely. I realize that.
Yeah, and so really quick. So if you would be sitting with a leader, right, that understands the value of creating these human connections, what would be the first three things that you would tell them to do? Like, how should they? Like, okay, first of all, if you don't have anyone watching, if you don't have a copy of Ricard's book, just take
Yeah,
it. There will be a
yeah.
link in the comments. I'm supporting this, and it's really deep. And there are some questions, and I have actually a lot of things took out from the book, things that pure leadership, like you just mentioned, the presence, humor, gratitude, right? There to be friendly, right? And also thinking about what kind of feelings do you produce in others, do you trigger in others. These are things like this is pure leadership, right? So don't let yourself discouraged by the title of the book, because this is definitely a leadership book as it is a personal development book. So tell us three things that leaders could do actually to create those connections, deeper connections with their team.
Just as we said, like first thing, be present, be there. Don't be somewhere else. You create presence by doing your work, and stay there. The person will feel it. That's the thing, And the second thing, laugh together. See laughter as a treasure, Laugh together. Like loosen up your tie, and just like be human, Just like laugh together. And you will see what's happening. You create a bond that will take the leadership like so far. And the most important thing, as we just said, be kind.
So be present, you know, look your people in the eye when you speak to them, be with them 100%, give them 100% of your attention. Then, create those bonds by not taking yourself too serious. Sometimes we tend to take it too serious. You might look, I always wear a jacket and a shirt and a phone. It's really serious. Well, I also laugh when it's the time to laugh, right? So keep that in mind. And also, what was the third one?
Kindness. Be kind.
Absolutely. That was actually the theme of the show today. So pretty quick, when we have guests on the show, we like to ask a little bit more personal questions. So we want to close with two personal questions. One is, what was the best leadership advice you ever got, and how did that help you?
I was thinking about that question, and I don't really, to be honest, Florin, I don't really have one of those like pivotal moments that someone said something and that changed my life. To me, it's more like building bricks, building blocks. That I take some here, some there, some there, and then I build my own kind of like building.
Mhm.
Uh, and I collect those things from everywhere.
So do you have a, what would be one of those bricks or one of those blocks that comes to mind right now?
Um, that is that is actually, as we were talking about, that is actually the golden rule. Treat other people like you want to be treated. Um, that is very, it's very powerful. And also one thing that I was thinking about, change perspective. It's also extremely powerful. Try to put yourself in the other person's shoes, and you will realize that a situation that are extremely kind of like stuck looses up when you are been put in their situation.
That's so good. Treat other people the way you want to be treated, and put yourself in their shoes. Wow, thank you for sharing that. So as a closing word here, what does leadership today means to you? Like if you define it in a word or a sentence, what would that be?
That would be leadership. To me, is it is to create a space which promotes and allows growth of your members of the team or employees or coworkers. Don't be afraid of being not being the best in the team. Allow growth. The best leaders are not specialists in every little thing. They don't micromanage. They let people grow. And when you let people grow, a lot of things happening.
Wow. So create the perfect space for your people to grow and allow them to grow rather than micromanage them. Wow, this is so good. Thank you so much for taking the time and being with us today. It was a pleasure.
Thank you so much. Thank you
And
so much,
again,
Florin.
yeah, and again, I see you have a lot of comments. I don't see a question or something that people want us to take right now. But again, if you don't have the copy of the book, just order one. I promise you will be worth it. And thank you so much for making the time, Rikard. And I look forward to catch up after this, in Gothenburg. Have a great day.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, and take care.
You too. Take care. Bye bye.
Bye.